Whimsical fairy garden. Ideas for small spaces. Dollar DIY, magic for spring to summer. As the seasons transition from the blossoming hues of spring to the sunlit days of summer, many find themselves yearning for a touch of whimsy in their gardens. For those with limited space, creating a fairy garden can be the perfect solution. Not only do these miniature landscapes transform a small area into a magical retreat, but they can also be crafted on a budget. With a sprinkle of creativity and a dash of imagination, you can bring enchanting fairy gardens to life right in your backyard, balcony, or windowsill. Let's explore 20 whimsical ideas to get you started. One. Teacup fairy garden. Transform an old teacup into a quaint fairy garden. Fill it with soil, mini succulents, and a tiny fairy figurine. This charming setup is perfect for a windowsill or small table, bringing a touch of magic to your indoor spaces. 2. Mason jar terrarium. Utilize a mason jar to create a self-contained fairy habitat. Add layers of pebbles, soil, and small plants, then place miniature fairy accessories inside. This easy-to-make terrarium can be an eye-catching addition to any shelf. 3. Birdhouse fairy cottage. Convert a plain birdhouse into a fairy cottage. Paint it with pastel colors, and add moss or small floral accents to complete the look. This can hang from a tree branch, adding charm to your outdoor space. 4. Succulent fairy ring. Arrange small succulents in a circular pattern to form a fairy ring. Place tiny stones or shells around the plants for added texture. This idea is perfect for a patio table centerpiece. 5. Broken pot garden repurpose. A broken terracotta pot by stacking the pieces to create levels. Fill each section with soil and small plants. Then add miniature fairy items to create a multi-tiered fairy wonderland. 6. Shoe planter fairy world. Give an old shoe new life by turning it into a whimsical planter. Fill it with soil and small plants. Then add fairy figurines to create a unique and quirky garden display. 7. Log slice fairy village. Use slices of logs to create a small fairy village. Arrange them in a circle, adding tiny houses and fairy figurines. This rustic display can be the focal point of a garden corner. 8. Bicycle Basket Fairy Haven. Transform the basket of an old bicycle into a magical fairy haven. Line it with moss, add small plants, and finish with a few fairy decorations. This can be a delightful garden feature, leaning against a wall or fence. Nine. Lantern Fairy Scene. Repurpose an old lantern by removing the glass and creating a fairy scene inside. Use moss, tiny plants, and fairy figurines to achieve a magical look, perfect for hanging in the garden. Ten. Shell Fairy Garden. Create a coastal-themed fairy garden using large seashells. Fill them with sand, small succulents, and miniature beach accessories. This is ideal for a beach house or seaside-themed decor. (11) Wishing Well Fairy Spot. Construct a small wishing well using stones and small twigs. Surround it with tiny plants and fairy figurines to create a serene little spot for your fairies to gather. 12. Tire swing fairy playground fashion. A miniature tire swing using a small rubber ring and twine. Hang it from a small branch or stick in a pot, creating a playful fairy playground. (13) Matchbox fairy home. Use matchboxes to craft tiny fairy homes. Stack and glue them together, painting them in bright colors and adding small details like windows and doors. These can be scattered throughout a garden bed. (14) Driftwood fairy bridge. Design a fairy bridge using pieces of driftwood. Place it over a small pond or a dish with water, adding miniature fairy figurines to complete the enchanting scene. (15) Book Nook fairy garden. Turn an old book into a fairy garden by hollowing it out and filling it with soil and small plants. Add tiny accessories to create a storybook setting that can be displayed on a shelf. 16. Vintage Colander planter. Repurpose a vintage colander by filling it with soil and small plants. Add fairy figurines and accessories to create a whimsical, kitchen-themed fairy garden. (17) Pebble Pathway. Create a pebble pathway leading to a fairy door on a tree trunk or a pot. Use different colored pebbles to add depth and interest, guiding the fairies to their magical entrance. (18) Acorn cap fairy lights. Use acorn caps to create tiny fairy lights. Attach them to a string of LED lights and hang them around a small tree or bush to illuminate your fairy garden at night. (19) Painted rock fairy pets. Paint small rocks to resemble fairy pets like ladybugs, frogs, or turtles. Scatter them throughout your fairy garden for a playful and colorful touch. 20. Hanging Basket Fairy Oasis. Transform a hanging basket into a fairy oasis by filling it with cascading plants, moss, and fairy figurines. This vertical garden idea saves space and adds a magical touch above eye level. Final thoughts. Creating a fairy garden is a delightful way to bring enchantment into small spaces, allowing your creativity to flourish while staying within a budget. Each of these ideas offers a unique twist on traditional gardening, making it possible to enjoy the magic of nature in the coziest of corners. If you enjoyed these whimsical ideas and want to explore more creative projects, be sure to like and subscribe to the Little Big Living YouTube channel. There, you'll find endless inspiration for turning everyday items into magical masterpieces.